The college baseball experience on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Play their fantasy pick'em for a chance to win 100x in NBA, MLB, MMA, NHL, golf, and more. Sign up today at UnderdogFantasy.com using promo code TCESGPN to get a 100% deposit match. All right, already it is showtime. Welcome back to a brand new episode here on the College Baseball Experience. The content grind continues because I've made it known in the last couple of episodes. Your boy will not be around next weekend. Plan on just a weekend preview with some insights on what days I'll be looking to bet some of the games. But once again, planning on getting a little wrecked at the NFL draft next weekend down in downtown Detroit. So one episode previewing the entire weekend. However, we have basically 1 month left of the regular season. The regular season ends the week before Memorial Day. Let's do some bracketology for this is how I'm handling it. If the season was to end today, what the NCAA baseball tournament would look like if the season ended today. So one last thing, a disclaimer, I'm not a professional. When it comes to making brackets, I just love to do it. I've always loved brackets ever since I was in elementary school. I was creating brackets during classes, had multiple notebooks confiscated because I was just making brackets of random shit and random sports, putting teams together, matching them up, and then hypothetically picking them until there was a winner. That was just how my brain was wired since I was young. So always loved doing this, fascinated by how the field of 64 teams for college baseball gets assembled, how the field of 68 teams in college basketball gets assembled. I think the college football playoff is a sham with the only 4-team playoff. It expanding to 12 is going to make it a little bit better, a little bit more enjoyable. But yeah, let's get into this a little bit here. So we're going to pull up the same screen share that I've been doing the last couple of shows, and I'm going to fill out an Excel sheet right in front of you guys as I am moving along. So I've already taken care of some of the boring stuff, or just like the less interesting stuff. So this is WarrenNolan.com. This is where you're going to be able to find a bunch of RPI statistics and information. This is my spreadsheet. So on the left, I've got automatic qualifiers that I've already went through and selected for each conference. I've taken the current leader and the current standings, how it would end today. And if there was a tie, I then looked at the 2 teams that are in the tie, have already played this season, like UTSA in the American. They do not have an 8 RPI. I can tell there's already been a mistake there. I forgot to put a 6 next to their RPI. They have an 86th ranked RPI there, the UTSA Roadrunners. But they have the tiebreaker over East Carolina. They beat the Pirates 2-1 in a 3-game series. The Roadrunners hosted that, but then again, they did win that series. So we have filled in the bottom 16 teams. All the 4 seeds I've figured out based on their RPI ranking, their resumes. I've ranked them from my favorite to least favorite resumes. We're going to go with 48th overall. I have USC Upstate out of the Big South. 49th, the Big Ten is not having a great year, guys. Illinois, currently 70th in the RPI, leads the Big Ten convincingly. A clear 1.5 games ahead of the second place team, the Michigan Wolverines. Again, I was at that game today. Michigan takes down Ohio State by a score of 7-4, wins the weekend series 2-1 there. They are 1.5 games back of Illinois. Illinois has an RPI of 70. Michigan's is like 98 right now. So Fighting Illini right now. Your current current auto bid, if the season was to end today out of the Big Ten and the RPI 70th, the resume is not great. 112th non-conference strength of schedule, only 13-11 in the non-conference there. They are 10-2 in the Big Ten, but they're 0-7 against quad 1, 2-1 against quad 2. They have 2 quad 4 losses, 3 quad 3 losses, and they're 4-8 on the road. That's something that I really taken or really value. Just record away from home. They've got 5 neutral wins, 8 road losses, 4 neutral losses, 4 road wins. It's just not a strong resume. So Illinois, I have them 49th overall. Grand Canyon 50th overall. Bowling Green 51. They are 17-1 in the MAC. They just lost their first MAC game today against Ohio. Fresno State 52nd overall, St. Louis 53rd, Rider 54th, Columbia 55th, Stetson 56th, Gonzaga 57th, 58th is Army, 59th Northern Kentucky, 60th is Bryant, 61 is Sacred Heart, 62nd is Tennessee Tech, 63rd is Florida A&M, and the lucky winner, the auto bid out of the Summit League right now, is currently North Dakota State. Now you may be asking, why did you rank all the 4 seeds? The only thing that comes in handy for, and the only reason why you would want to be ranked ahead of them in the true 1-64 ranking is because you will get placed into a regional closer to your home campus. If you have proximity, like the NCAA is trying to limit travel as much as possible. They have for a little bit now. And that is the only advantage that you have. If you are the same seed line as somebody, but ranked just a little bit ahead of them in the true to 1-64. Let's tune into the what we got here. So let's real quick before I decide 1-8 national seeds and then the 1-16 overall. The NFL draft is this week, and the Sports Gambling Podcast has you covered all week with NFL draft props, mock drafts, and their NFL draft watch party. Tune in Thursday night on the Sports Gambling Podcast YouTube page and hang with the guys for the best NFL draft party out there. Currently, I don't know if I'm going to be representing the Detroit Lions or not. It depends on just kind of data reception downtown. If I can connect to the watch party, I might have my point of view in there. It would be madness, whoever we select. And then it would just be ultimate Detroit Lions lore that the player is just a bust. But I mean, this front office has treated us great. I don't know why I have to be so negative. Again, that's why Jared Goff is saying that the Detroit media is so negative, because we're just used to it at this point. The NFC Championship was maybe just a one-off. Who knows? We're hoping it's not. All right, let's decide some top 8 seeds here. Tommy goes, he's on Jaden Daniels' top 3 pick plus 160. That's his favorite bet there, or maybe not his favorite, but that's a bet that he just put into the YouTube chat. Comment along if you're curious in any of how this process works, or you just have questions as we go along. All right, number 1 overall seed. Again, I'm not reinventing the wheel. I'm doing this basically how the committee does it. They rely heavily on RPI. I just think it's a really good exercise for me to kind of know where all of the field stands currently, and also for any listeners out there that just want to kind of check in on the national scene. Bracketology isn't all about brackets. Like, you are kind of understanding which teams are playing above and below their talent level based on resumes and stuff like that. So again, we're going into the RPI, not reinventing the wheel. The NCAA selection committee heavily relies on RPI. And then I'll just kind of divvy it up by quadrant wins, road record, non-conference strength of schedule. And then we'll easily seed all these teams. I apologize. So the number 1 seed here, I'm going to go with Texas A&M. They're 8-4 in quad 1, 7-1 in quad 2. They don't have a loss in quads 3 or 4. They have a winning record on the road, 7-4. Their non-con strength of schedule isn't amazing. It's 118, but they didn't lose any of those non-con games. It's an unblemished resume to my standards. Texas A&M, even though they didn't schedule tremendously out of conference, I think they are going to be, if the season ended today, they would be my number one overall seed. The Texas A&M Aggies, number one overall there. Number two, once again, I think this is another clean resume. Arkansas, they do not have a quad 3 or quad 4 loss. All 6 of their losses have come in quad 1 here. They're 5-4 on the road, which is the reason why I gave Texas A&M the nod over them. The Aggies are 7-4 on the road. Arkansas did schedule much better in the non-conference. They're 20-2 overall in the non-conference. But this is ultimately going to be settled on the field later on this year. So I don't take it too seriously. And plus, I think Arkansas fans are probably happy that I'm not giving them the number one overall seed because a lot of SEC programs and fan bases think it's a curse. Arkansas, number 2 overall seed if the season were to end today. Now, here's the tricky part. I like clean resumes when I'm deciphering top seeds. Kentucky's got 2 quad 3 losses, a quad 4 loss, a 77th ranked non-conference schedule. Tennessee's clean, but they did not schedule well in the non-conference. North Carolina's clean. They have a 21st ranked non-conference strength of schedule. They're 30-10 overall, which isn't as great as other teams here, and they're 7th in RPI. Normally, the 3 seed doesn't get, or normally, like, the committee doesn't dip too far down into RPI to decipher this thing. I will tell you that an ACC team is going to get a top 4 seed. I don't know if they get a top 3 seed with how this goes. Let's go with Tennessee. So even though I said they typically don't go down to 7, Tennessee's RPI is 6th. They have a clean resume in quads 3 and 4. I was slightly leaning to Kentucky, but I mean, they have 2 quad 3 losses, a quad 4 loss, and they just lost the weekend series to Tennessee. We have to value head to head a little bit here. I'll go with the Vols over Florida State, Clemson, Kentucky, and North Carolina, all in consideration there. Tennessee, number 3 overall. Let's check in on the YouTube chat, see if they have any input on that. Matthew Durkee, or just Dirk. I don't know if the 2 E's are silent. He goes, "What up, Bieniek? Glad the Thunder Blizzards are over. Doing great on baseball these days." But thank you, Matthew. Thank you. Tyler goes, "Doesn't Warren Nolan have a forward-looking RPI projection?" Yes, but I want to, have my own input on how some of this goes. So the forward-looking RPI projection, yes, that would simulate some of the games that are left on the schedules for a lot of these teams. I just want it, if the season ended today, what the current tournament field would look like. Avetta says, how much do they look at strength of schedule? It's more non-conference strength of schedule. And if they look at strength of schedule, it's total bullshit, in my opinion. Because when you're playing other teams in your conference, that is 100% boosting up your resume. And that's what a lot of, SEC, ACC fans are going to clamor for, just to look at regular strength of schedule. Well, no, because teams that aren't in power conferences can't control when their strength of schedule gets tanked because the level of their conference isn't as strong as other conferences. And if the other conferences aren't scheduling well in the non-conference, like if they're not even trying to challenge themselves in the non-conference, they should be penalized a little bit, in my opinion. In my humble opinion, that's how it should go. So no, I don't value strength of schedule as much as non-conference strength of schedule. But then again, I just gave a 155th non-conference strength of schedule, the number 3 overall seed. Number 4 overall seed, I'm going to give it to one of these 3 ACC teams here. My lean is the North Carolina. Again, the clean resume here. Clemson's got the 10 quad 1 wins, but they do have a couple of blemishes, 2 quad 3 losses, a quad 4 loss. They are 7-2 on the road. North Carolina's 7-7. No, I think that's incorrect. I got to go Clemson here, even though they have the couple of bad losses in the non-conference. They still scheduled well. 23rd non-conference strength of schedule. They have the 10 quad 1 wins. You can't take that away from them. North Carolina 6-8 in quad 1. That was an incorrect gut reaction there. So we're going to give Clemson the number 4 seed. I think that's a familiar seed to them. They were the number 4 overall seed last year. And they got the death blow of Tennessee in their home regional. All right. Now, the next seed, number 5 overall, is between Kentucky, between Florida State, between North Carolina. And now we can start to open this up a little bit to like 8 and 9 at 5 overall here. Florida State's got 2 bad losses, 1 quad 3, 1 quad 4. Just a losing record on the road, 5-6, 43rd overall non-conference strength of schedule. Kentucky's got 1 more bad loss than Florida State, but they are 13-2 on the road. That's a solid. That's an amazing road record there. That's what helps them out in the RPI so much is they'll hit the road against some mid-major teams that are solid in their own conferences, and it really helps them out RPI ways. We're going to go with Kentucky at 5 overall. 6th, let's open it up to top 10 now. East Carolina's got 1 tough loss in the quad 3 range. They're 10 or this is actually Wake Forest. Wake Forest is 10-10 in quad 1 with only 1 bad loss. 33rd non-conference strength of schedule. I really don't know how that is so low. They didn't challenge themselves in the non-conference really. Like 3 games against Dayton helps, but they're like tied for 2nd in the A10. I was just looking at it today. They beat Illinois, who's currently the auto bid, but Fordham, Akron, NCAA, Binghamton. I guess the 17-9 loss to Coastal helps. A loss to Liberty might help, or a 1-run win against Liberty probably helps. This win against Coastal probably helps. It's not a tremendous non-conference slate. I didn't remember it being top 50 good. Indiana State, they have 2 quad 3 and quad 4 losses here. 1 quad 3, 1 quad 4. I said that incorrectly. 12-7 road record, 30th non-conference strength of schedule here. Let's go with Florida State. Again, we're not trying to totally reinvent the wheel here. Florida State 5th in RPI. We'll go 6th overall for the Noles there. 7th, we've got North Carolina, East Carolina, Wake Forest, Indiana State. Georgia can't be that high. They're only 9-9 in the SEC. So between North Carolina, East Carolina, Wake Forest, Indiana State. North Carolina is 6-8 against quad 1, but they're clean in quads 3 and quads 4. And they scheduled well in the non-conference, and they're 7-7 on the road. East Carolina is 10-6 on the road. They have 3 tough losses. They're not tremendous in quads 1 or quad 3 either. This one, I think I got to go with Wake Forest. They got a winning record on the road. 33rd ranked non-conference strength of schedule. They do have 10 losses in quad 1, but they have 10 wins in quad 1, and they only have 1 tough loss, and it came in quad 3. We'll go with Wake Forest. They're 7th overall. Now it's up to, so for the final top 8 spot, I think it's between North Carolina, East Carolina, Indiana State, and I think it's between those 3. I'm going to give it to North Carolina. I just think that without the clean resume, no bad losses here, I think has to be worth something. The losing record in quad one, it is what it is, but they aren't losing to bad teams. So we'll give North Carolina 8th overall. And to recap, the top 8 seeds, we have Texas A&M, so that's 1 SEC, Arkansas, which is 2 SEC, Tennessee, which is 3 SEC, Clemson, which is 4th overall. That's the first ACC team here. 5th, Kentucky. That's a 4th SEC team in the top 5. Clemson, 6th. Wake Forest, 7th. North Carolina, 8th. So we've got 4 SEC, 4 ACC in the top 8 there. I think that's accurate for the current national scene we have. We'll check in on the YouTube chat. Tyler goes, do you agree with D1 Baseball's gripe that the committee uses RPI inconsistently at times in selecting teams? I mean, Colby, the face of the college experience brand, has gripes about just resume metrics in general. So I think that falls into the same bucket. Like, he doesn't trust the kind of formulas that they use because, like I said, with the non-conference and conference strength of schedules, like the teams in the power conferences benefit with the resume metrics because they're playing better teams for the entire last 3 months of the season. Yes, you should get the benefit of playing against those power teams, but when you're a mid-major team that is solid and you have no choice but to play 4 or 5 teams that have RPIs of 200, that's going to drag down your RPI indirectly, even if you're winning your games. You know what I mean? Dave Dizzy said, sorry about Reed joining UConn like Newton from ECU did, but purely baseball. Is UConn okay at the moment after sweeping Georgetown? Yes, I have UConn currently as the auto bid for the Big East. We'll see where they fall. I think they'll probably be a 3, just because of the overall record not being too strong. But if you win the Big East this year, it seems like it's going to be a solid conference overall. Matthew Durkee said, you nailed my name, bud. You pronounced the double E's there. Awesome. And Jim Lawless says, do you really believe the committee would put all ACC and SEC in the top 8? Well, I mean, teams outside of the SEC and ACC have to take care of business. Oregon State just got swept. So they were in the top 8 RPI wise prior to this weekend against Cal, and it just completely tanked them out. UC Santa Barbara, 25-10 overall, but they're just 1-2 in quad 1. That's not good enough to crack the top 8 there. Indiana State, 500 in quad 1. And they're probably the team that could crack it. East Carolina as well could crack it, but you don't get a ton of mid-major into the top 8 just with the whole RPI issue, because the committee does lean heavily on the RPI. And like I said, I'm just like, if the committee were to settle the NCAA tournament field today, I'm just trying to reenact that. It's tough because I think East Carolina and Indiana State are 2 of the next 3 teams that are going to land on my seed list here. And Georgia, I don't even know what they're doing up here with 9-9, 500 overall record in the SEC and 7-8 in quad 1. That's just, the metrics favoring some power conference teams there. We'll get back. All right. So that's it for the YouTube chat real quick. Let's talk about Underdog Fantasy. The NBA playoffs are here, and our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy, wants to make it a lot more interesting. Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports. Playing their pick'em game is as simple as selecting higher or lower on player stats like points, rebounds, assists, and so much more. Make entries of all basketball or mix and match some of your favorite sports. You can win up to 100 times your money, and it's easy and a ton of fun. Underdog is available in 30-plus states, including California, Texas, and even Canada. Like I've talked about this on this show many times before, but I was writing daily/nightly articles for SGPN, giving out college basketball underdog fantasy picks. We were hitting at like 62% during the winter for college basketball. We've heard murmurs that they're going to bring back college baseball. They had it available during the College World Series last year, so there's some hope there. But underdog fantasy will double your first deposit up to $100 if you use the promo code TCESGPN. That's underdog fantasy, promo code TCESGPN. Alrighty, let's get back to the top 16 overall. Let's decide the rest of the regional teams here. So, North Carolina was our 8th overall seed. We went Texas A&M, Arkansas, Tennessee, Clemson, Kentucky, Florida State, Wake Forest, North Carolina. 9th overall is going to be between East Carolina, Indiana State. I think those are the only two teams that really deserve it. So between these two, ECU 10-6 on the road, Indiana State 12-7, ECU 19th non-conference strength of schedule, Indiana State 30th, Indiana State overall 29-8, East Carolina 31-8. East Carolina has 4 quad 1 wins, same with Indiana State. East Carolina has 3 tough losses in quad 3 and 4 combined. Indiana State just has 2. Let's go with I'll give the nod to Indiana State, and then East Carolina is right behind them. Alrighty. Georgia at 11 in the RPI still blows my mind. I'm actually going to probably forget about them as I move down the order, just looking for other options here. Coastal Carolina 27-12 overall. They're 4-5 in quad 1, 3 losses in quad 3. They're clean in quad 4, 6-7 record on the road. Georgia's 4-7 on the road there. Is this where Virginia comes into play? Their non-conference strength of schedule is poor, though, too. Maybe the sheer amount of quad 1 wins for South Carolina, but they're also 9-9 in SEC, too. Sometimes I love it, and sometimes I hate this exercise because it's so frustrating that some of these teams are this high up here. Vanderbilt 10-8 in the SEC, but they're 3-7 in quad 1, 122 non-conference strength of schedule. Maybe this is where Oregon State falls. No, losing record on the road and in quad 1. Damn, it got shallow fast. That's all I gotta say. It got shallow fast. Looking at top 16 seeds here. I'm stunned. Let's go with damn. So Dallas Baptist is 6-8 in quad 2. They've lost 3 straight weekend series to Western Kentucky, Air Force, and who's the other team? Western Kentucky, Air Force, and Louisiana Tech, who they just lost to this weekend. But they're still 17th in the RPI. They have no quad 4 losses. They only have 2 quad 3, but they're 6-8 in quad 2, 67th non-conference strength of schedule. They're 8-5 on the road. That's kind of the best resume that I like here. I'll go Coastal. I know I was just talking about Dallas Baptist, but Coastal's got the 3rd ranked non-conference strength of schedule. Yes, they have a losing record on the road, 6-7. Yes, they have a losing record in quad 1, just 4-5. But it's clean in quad 4. They have 3 quad 3 losses. It got shallow fast. I'm already changing my mind again. We're going South Carolina. They're 9-9 in the SEC, so be it. But they've got 10 quad 1 wins. They only have 2 tough losses, 1 in quad 4, 1 in quad 3. 6-6, even 500 on the road. That's ugly. Outside of the top 10 here, it is not good. South Carolina 11. Then we'll go Coastal 12. I was about to give the nod to Coastal. So Coastal 12. And then it's Oregon State, Virginia, Dallas Baptist. Those are the other 3 that I was talking about. Let's go with Virginia. Virginia's 5-4 in quad 1, 7-4 in quad 2. They only have 3 tough losses, 2 in quad 3, 1 in quad 4. They're 8-5 on the road. The only blemish on their record or their resume that I didn't like was that they didn't challenge themselves on the non-con. 134 overall in the non-conference strength of schedule, but this is where they fall because everything else is fine on that resume. They are 12-9 in the ACC. Oregon State, DBU. DBU 6-0 in quad 1 and 6-8 in quad 2. Make it make sense. Do we dip down to 21st in RPI to Duke? Their non-conference strength of schedule is 238, but they're 9-7 in quad 1, 3-1 in quad 2, 6-1 in quad 3, 11-2 in quad 4, 9-4 on the road. They're on the short list soon. I don't think you can go down to 21 when we're talking about 14th overall yet. Don't believe the committee would do that. Let's go with Oregon State. They've only got 2 tough losses. Yes, they just had a terrible weekend. They were just swept by Cal. But everything else on this resume is fine. Like I said, they were swept at Cal. So 4-7 on the road. 3 of those losses just came this weekend. We'll go Oregon State 14th. I'll check up on the YouTube chat, see if anybody else had any suggestions. Tommy said, "You savage K-props will feed families." I agree. Matthew Durkee said, "You should use Dundee's soundboard and play Spirit of ECU when you talk about them. That song's fire." I like it too, but I don't have the soundboard capabilities yet. It's coming soon, hopefully. David Matola said Oregon State not first place in the pack like a team I know. Yeah, his Arizona Wildcats. They're in the mid-20s in the RPI. I wrote it down earlier. Where are they at? 32nd. Sorry, not mid-20s. 32nd. The disrespect to the Pac-12. So we got 2 more top 16 seeds to fill in. Duke is going to be one of them. I think that's the cleanest resume. Duke is going to get the 15th seed because the NCAA selection committee always likes to screw a mid-major with the 16th overall seed. And that is probably going to be awarded to UC Santa Barbara or Dallas Baptist. Dallas Baptist. We liked that resume over UC Santa Barbara. UC Santa Barbara is 1-2 in quad 1. DBU 6-0 in quad 1. Dallas Baptist gets the royal just wrong end of the stick from the NCAA, like they always give to everybody. Or not everybody. They always give it to mid-major. If you want to go and look, it's like a mid-major or a 500 team that was in a power conference like NC State or Alabama from the ACC or SEC. It's like not a power program. They had a solid year, but it wasn't great. So you just throw them out there as a sacrificial lamb to the number 1 overall seed. It's always a mid-major or a team like that. So Number 1 overall, Texas A&M. Number 2 overall, Arkansas. Number 3 overall, Tennessee. 4, Clemson. 5, Kentucky. 6, Florida State. 7, Wake Forest. 8, North Carolina. 9, Indiana State. 10, East Carolina. 11, South Carolina. 12, Coastal Carolina. 13, Virginia. 14, Oregon State. 15, Duke. 16, Dallas Baptist. We have Oregon State as the lone Pac-12 host. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 mid-major hosts in the top 16. There is no Big 12 host. The current auto bid is Oklahoma. They're 22nd in the RPI. We have to take a look at this because does the Big 12 deserve a host? Five tough losses. They have 4 in quad 3, 1 in quad 4. They are 9-3 on the road. They did schedule well in the non-conference. They're 12th non-conference strength of schedule. Them versus Duke. So Oklahoma's got 14 quad 1 and quad 2 wins total. Duke's got 12. Duke has 3 poor losses. Oklahoma has 5. But the 3 losses to quad 3 and quad 4 teams with a 238 non-conference strength of schedule. Do we bump chat? Let me know. Would you bump Duke for Oklahoma? We're going to keep DBU 16th overall. Avetta says Florida State's pitching coach came from Dallas Baptist. Let me know, chat, whether we bounce Duke for Oklahoma or keep Duke. While you respond, I'm going to hit the second and final advertisement here, and then we'll get going. We'll be home free. We'll set up some regionals, and we'll see what kind of interesting matchups that creates. Are you thinking of entering Circa Survivor or Circa Millions, but don't live in Nevada? It's not a problem. It's actually very easy to hire a proxy to submit the picks for you each week for your chance to win millions. Sign up in Las Vegas and then just submit your picks to your proxy. We've partnered up with the gold standards of proxies over at footballcontestproxy.com. Plus, if you use the promo code SGP at checkout, you'll save $50 off the proxy fees. That's right. Just go to footballcontestproxy.com. That's proxy as in PORXY.com. Promo code SGP to get $50 off. All right. We're going to keep Duke 15th overall. Big 12 didn't quite earn a top 16 seed, at least as of yet. Let's cross off the automatic bids that we've filled in up until this point. Indiana State, Clemson, Kentucky. All right, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 guaranteed spots to fill, and there are currently 48 to 17 range. So 21 spots, and 11 of them need to be auto bids. So there's 10 more at large bids to go around. UC Santa Barbara's 12th in RPI. We've dropped them all the way down to at least 17th. I don't think the committee's going to screw them much more than that. They've already, or the committee, as in me, has already screwed Santa Barbara out of a host. They're better resume than Vanderbilt, better resume than Nebraska. Better resume than Bama. Yeah, let's go UC Santa Barbara 17th. Same with Georgia. I mean, they've got to file in at some point too. Just an SEC team with the 11th RPI is not going to fall past 20. We're currently at 18th overall. We still have Oklahoma to file in at some point as well. Let's go Georgia in front of UC Santa Barbara. Georgia's only got one quad 4 loss, one quad 3 loss. They have 7 quad 1 wins. UC Santa Barbara only has one quad 1 win, and they didn't schedule very well outside of conference either. Only 80th. Georgia didn't either, but it's 135th, and in the grand scheme of things, it's not a huge difference outside of the top 50, in my opinion. So we'll move Barbara down one spot, put Georgia 17th overall there. Oklahoma probably finds a spot in here. Winning record on the winning record on the road, winning record in quad 1, winning record in quad 2. Their only thing is they've got 5 quad 3 and quad 4 losses combined, but they scheduled well in a non-con. So we'll go Oklahoma 19th here. That wipes out the Big 12 auto bid. So the teams currently above 20th overall that we have left out: Vanderbilt, Nebraska, 18th, 19th in RPI respectively, and then Alabama's 20th. Vandy's 3-7 in quad 1. They've got 3 quad 4 losses with a 122 non-conference strength of schedule. Nebraska 14th non-conference strength of schedule. They didn't win any of the good games that they really scheduled, though. They've only got 1 quad 1 win. They're 14-6 in quad 2 with only 1 bad loss. I think that's where we go next. Nebraska. James Madison's going to come into play at some point here. Same with Oklahoma State. I think I like Oklahoma State here, actually. So they've got 2 quad 4 losses, but they're 5-0 in quad 3. They have 8 quad 1 wins. They're 8-8 on the road. The 108 non-conference strength of schedule sucks, to say the least. But James Madison being 6-12 on the road, it's not their time yet. It's better than Bama, though, who we've skipped on for now. So we'll go Oklahoma State here. So we're talking 22nd overall now. We have Bama at 20th in RPI. That's the only team we've skipped up until this point, RPI-wise. Ole Miss, 24th in RPI, mind fucks me. They're 6-12 in the SEC, and they're 24th in the RPI with a 75th ranked non-conference strength of schedule, and they're 4-11 in quad 1. See, this is the type of shit that don't make sense. They have 6 combined quad 3 and quad 4 losses too. How many SEC teams do we have at this point? A&M's 1, Arkansas's 2, Tennessee's 3, Kentucky's 4, South Carolina's 5, Georgia's 6. So the SEC typically gets 3 to 4 more teams. Ole Miss can't be one of them, though, with a 6-12 record in conference and only just 21-18 overall. That's just one of the terrible, terrible outliers. Oops. So is this the spot for James Madison? With 5 quad 1 losses, they scheduled amazingly in non-conference. Yeah, we'll go James Madison there. So that's 2 Sunbelt teams over the automatic bid right now, which is Louisiana. Raging Cajuns. They're 43rd in the RPI. All right, 23rd overall. I think Bama slides in here. 25 and 15 overall. That 219th overall non-conference strength of schedule sucks, but they've only got 2 poor losses. They have 8 quad 1 wins. 8 quad 1 wins is just hard to find down here. Alabama is going to be 23rd overall for us. 24th overall. So we have not skipped any RPI teams up till 24th. So Ole Miss is definitely getting skipped at least 10 spots, and we'll see if we fill in any of the other SEC teams. Sorry, I almost forgot about Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's a little bit better than Alabama. Then Vandy's only got 3 quad 1 wins, but they're 10 and 8 in the SEC, and Bama's 7 and 11. I think we go Vandy above Bama, and then Bama. All right, 25 overall. So we're currently looking at the RPI here. We have Ole Miss sitting 24th, UCF 26th, UC Irvine 27th, Texas Tech 28th, NC State 29th. I think this is the resume that I like most. No quad 4 losses. They're clean. They're 7-5 winning record in quad 1. The poor road record, not an amazing non-conference strength of schedule. Losing record in quad 2, but it's not pretty everywhere else. That's for sure. We'll go NC State 25th. $26th. Let's go with, man, none of these teams really scheduled themselves or scheduled too hard of a non-conference schedule against themselves. So it's not like they get too much of an edge over each other in this spot. It's between UCF, UC Irvine, Texas Tech for the next 3 spots. UC Irvine's 10-4 on the road. We'll give them that. That's a more impressive stat than any of the other ones that I'm looking at. Then we'll go with UCF. And then Texas Tech. So the SEC, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 teams in the SEC. So the SEC's got 2 more teams. We have Ole Miss. Florida, who's 8-10. Ole Miss is 6-12. Florida's just 20-19 overall. Ole Miss is 21-18 right now. LSU can't be. They're 39th in the RPI, but they're 5-13. Auburn 2-16. Mississippi State being 10-8 in the SEC's got to get them something. That's better than every team that we've listed so far. Those 4 teams with losing records in the SEC. So yeah, I think the last 2 SEC teams in our field is going to be Ole Miss and Mississippi State. But the Ole Miss 6-12 is piss poor. I don't know how they're 24th in the RPI. That makes no freaking sense. But the committee's not going to leave out a 24th RPI team. So we'll go Ole Miss and Mississippi State. Those are the last 2 SEC teams there. But Ole Miss has to wait until like a 3 seed, a 3 line. Both Ole Miss and Mississippi State are going to be on the 3. So the next teams RPI wise, we have Xavier, San Diego, Arizona, West Virginia, Kansas State. San Diego's clean in quad 4. They're the only team without a quad 4 loss in those 4 teams that we mentioned, but they've got the least amount of quad 1 games played, the least amount of quad 1 wins. They scheduled very well in non-conference. We'll go San Diego. They're just 1-3 in quad 1, but they've got 7 quad 2 wins. You have to reward them for the 15-9 road record and the tough non-conference schedule. San Diego, shout out to them getting that large. They're in the West Coast Conference, and Gonzaga is the automatic with a 127 RPI. Gonzaga, I had 57th overall, and San Diego's 29th right now. They lost that series to the Zags too. 3 more teams, and then we'll check on the YouTube chat here. So the 3 teams that are in consideration: Xavier, Arizona, West Virginia, Kansas State. Let's go with Arizona. The 4-5 quad 1 record's better than a 4-11 quad 1 record. And Xavier's got 7 Q3 losses. We'll go Arizona there, 30th overall. So we'll cross out another auto bid there with the Wildcats. UC Irvine we missed, so let's cross them out too. 2 more teams to fill in on the 2 line. 31 and 32 overall. The only team RPI based that we've skipped is Ole Miss, 24th. So now we've got Xavier, who's 30th, West Virginia, who's 33rd, Kansas State, who's 34th, UConn, 36th, the Virginia Tech, 37th. I'm going to go with West Virginia. The 14 combined Q3, Q4, or Q3, Q2 wins is the most out of any of the other ones. They're 11-11 on the road, 90th non-conference strength of schedule, but I mean, they've won their games. We'll go with West Virginia, and then to round this thing out, we'll go with Virginia Tech. West Virginia and Virginia Tech. All right, we've got 16 teams to fill in for three seeds, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 auto bids for those 16 spots. YouTube chat, let's do our check-in. Ryan Hasty says, let's go Dogs. Another solid day. Thanks, Noah. I had a losing day personally, but then again, I don't really overextend myself. So shout out to Hasty, a little bit more aggressive than I was, and it paid off for you. Ryan Hasty also goes with the WILD Cats. WILD Wildcats. That's the soundboard sound that Colby's got for Arizona. David Matola goes, Chip Hill finally realized that we need some pitching. Hell yeah, and the pitching staff's really damn good this year. That's my guy, Chip Hill. He was the Detroit Tigers hitting coach when we were good in offense. I knew he was legit when he left and our offense went to shit. All right, let's fill in some 3 seeds. Currently, we've got Xavier that doesn't have a home, UConn, Florida. Florida deserves it over Ole Miss. All right. The Ole Miss thing is mind-boggling. Ole Miss is would be put in. I hate that I have to put them in. Ole Miss is 24th in the RPI, and right now we're picking the 33rd overall team. Like, Florida's resume to this point, I think, is the best one out of teams in consideration for this next spot. Let's go with the Gators. Florida. Then I think we got to go UConn. So UConn is 36 in the RPI. They're 26 non-conference strength of schedule. 10-13 on the road. They have 3 quad 1 wins. They're 3-12 in quad 1, but they have 8 quad 2 wins there. No quad 4 losses. 5-3 in quad 3. I think that's the next cleanest resume you'll find is with UConn. So there's an auto bid that we can cross off. Please don't hate my heart. Then I think you got to fill in Xavier. I don't think they'll drop more than 5 spots in RPI there. Then we'll go Ole Miss, just mandatory because I have to lose some brain cells and include the Rebels. Kansas State next, 34th in the RPI. 62nd non-conference strength of schedule, 4-9 in quad 1, but they have 4 combined Q3, Q4 losses. Only one of those was in Q4. Kansas State is the next team that we'll go with. So 3, 5, 6 auto bids for 9 spots. So we have 3 more at-large spots to go, and one of them is going to be Mississippi State. Being 10-8 in the SEC, they'll get a spot. So we're filling in the 30th overall spot. We'll go with Northeastern here, 40th in RPI, 83rd non-conference strength of schedule. Only 1 Q4 loss. They have 3 Q3 losses, but a winning record in Q1. 6-3 there. Sorry, they're 16-8 on the road. Northeastern, 38th overall. Who won head-to-head between Northeastern and Kansas State just this week? We'll make that matter between the two teams. Kansas State beat Northeastern, so that's the exact way we have it. We have the Wildcats 1 spot higher than the Huskies. So 2 more at-large spots. TCU? No, I don't think so, right? UNCW? Oh, man, they're 42nd in RPI, and they just beat Northeastern on the road this weekend. They've got 6 Q3 and Q4 losses combined. They don't have a winning record in Q1. They're 8-7 on the road, 46 non-conference strength of schedule. So it's between UNCW and TCU for the final at-large spot, not counting Mississippi State. Mississippi State, do they deserve it against the other two teams? I think they deserve it over TCU, right? TCU 4-11 on the road. Mississippi State just 4-6. Both of them didn't schedule well, non-conference wise. TCU's clean in Q4. Mississippi State's lost 4 quadrant 4 games. Oh, man. All right. I think UNCW is the team that's safest between them, TCU, Mississippi State. So UNC Wilmington. They sneak into an at-large bid, and it's between TCU and Mississippi State. TCU's 8-13 in the Big 12. Mississippi State's 10-8. I think that's got to be the deciding factor here. And Hail State gets the final at-large spot. So TCU first 4 out. We'll just fill that one in right away. All right. Let's handle the order of the. Oh, you know what? We've got 7 spots remaining with 3, 5, 6. So TCU does get in. So we have 7 at-large spot or 7 spots remaining. We only have 6 auto bids left. So TCU sneaks in. They got lucky. They need to wake up in the Big 12. They've done so well in non-conference. They've just sucked in conference play. They can't hit against Big 12 pitching for whatever it's worth. Louisiana 43rd in RPI. They're the only team that we're going to compare them to is Lamar. They're 12 spots behind in RPI. Louisiana and Lamar. Louisiana 143rd non-conference strength of schedule. They're 31-11 overall. 10-3 on the road. 2-4 in quad 1. 3-0 in quad 2. 9-3 in quad 3. 17-4 in quad 4. Lamar 30-8 overall. That's a little bit better. 220 non-conference schedule, not better than Louisiana's 143 there. Lamar 8-6 on the road, not better than the 10-3. Lamar 3 quad 1 wins. Louisiana's only got 2, and Lamar's got a winning record in quad 1. Louisiana's got 4 quad 4 losses. Lamar's only got 2. I'm highlighting the wrong one. Lamar 6-3 in quad 3. Louisiana 9-3. The more wins in the category doesn't really matter because it's against worse teams. Louisiana 3-0 in quad 2. Lamar 1-2. We'll go Louisiana because they've played better competition up until this point. They have 5 Q1 and Q2 wins. Lamar has just 4, and 3 of them were all against Oklahoma. So we'll go Louisiana. We'll cross off the Raging Cajuns there. So then we'll compare Lamar, the 55th RPI, against the 64th RPI in Charleston, who currently has the auto bid in the CAA. Charleston 64th, Lamar 55th. Charleston's 28-10 overall, 187 non-conference strength of schedule. It's slightly better than Lamar. 7-2 on the road, definitely better than Lamar. 2-4 in quad 1. Lamar's 3-1 in quad 1 with a winning record there. 1-2 in quad 2 for Lamar. 4-1 for Charleston. 7-1 in quad 3 for Charleston. And 4 quad 4 losses for Charleston. I think Charleston's resume is just a bit better than Lamar's. We'll go Charleston, then we'll go Lamar right after them. They're not going to drop 20 spots behind the next RPI team in the ranking. So Lamar, cross them off, and Charleston will cross them off. The final 2 spots, or final 3 spots we got to fill in, is between Samford, Western Kentucky, and UTSA. Samford 73rd in the RPI, 183 non-conference strength of schedule, just 1 Q1 win. They've got 3 combined 3 and 4 quadrant losses there. Western Kentucky, 269 strength of schedule. It's not amazing. They've got 6 combined Q3, Q4 losses. UTSA's got 11 combined. Yeah, it's probably going to go in the exact order that it is. Samford, WKU, UTSA. All righty, let's start filing in some teams and create some matchups. I'll check the YouTube chat see what people are talking about. Ryan Hasty says chomp chomp when Florida got in. They backdoored their way into this. Matthew Durkee says, fuck yeah, Bieniek. Love the effort of the soundboard with the Wildcats. Hell yeah. Me sounding out the Wildcats there. Hasty said Mississippi State over TCU. TCU's lucky. I'll say that. The Phoenix need to rise in the Horizon League. The Phoenix need to get a baseball team in the Horizon League. Green Bay doesn't even have a baseball team. You can thank Title IX for a lot of college institutions not having baseball programs. It's just a large sport to have, and the whole Title IX rule is you have to even up the amount of scholarships for both men's and women's sports. And to just simplify the issue, they just don't carry some of the larger rostered men's sports there. So actually, let's do the next 8 out before we start seeding some teams. So that would be just graphic wise, we throw LSU in there, put them on notice. They're 39th in RPI, but they're going to be left out. Notre Dame's 38th in RPI. I mean, they're not even a consideration either. They're 5-16 in the ACC. They're 0-15 in quad 1. LSU's not much better, 2-10. I mean, is that a joke even including Notre Dame? Like they can't even be taken seriously here. Same with Auburn, 2-16 in the SEC, but they're 44th. So we'll go LSU, Maryland. Shout out to East Tennessee State for getting in here in the conversation from the SoCon. Cal is probably next. So LSU, Maryland, Cal, and Ohio State. LSU, Maryland, Cal, Ohio State. Next up, on the next 4 out, we've got Kennesaw State. They've got 10 Q3, Q4 losses. They're close. They're on the bubble. I don't know if they're going to be like a next 4 out type of team, though. East Tennessee State's quality. They're worthy. They've only got 3 tough losses. Their thing is like they didn't help themselves in the non-conference scheduling. They won 1 of their 5 Q1 games, though, and they're 6-6 in Q2. East Tennessee State's in play. We'll go East Tennessee State, Louisiana Tech. Creighton. And Notre Dame. ETSU, Louisiana Tech, Creighton, and Notre Dame just gets an honorable mention for having manipulated the RPI some unknown way. No, I knew that was going to fucking happen. All right, so let's start filling in some teams. So Texas, A&M, Arkansas, Tennessee, Clemson, top 4 seeds there. Texas, or actually we're doing 1-16. So 16 is Dallas Baptist. So we now have a Dallas regional and a College Station regional right next to each other. Perfect. Then copy and paste these cells. And now we've got number 2 overall and number 15 overall. So this is Arkansas and Fayetteville. '15th overall was Duke, right? Yep, we have Duke. And that's Durham. All right. 3 and 14 overall. We are now matching up. We're gonna die. All right. 3 is Tennessee, so that's Knoxville Regional. 14th overall is Oregon State. So that is, why am I blanking on one of my favorite college institutions' campuses? Named Corvallis. I'm bound to be embarrassed by not knowing a city at one point. We're testing my knowledge here. 4th overall seed was Clemson. So we have that one's easy, a Clemson regional. I knocked it out of the park there. 13th overall, Virginia. So Charlottesville. I misspelled Charlotte, didn't I? I deleted the extra T when I second guessed myself. 5th overall seed was Kentucky. So we've got a Lexington regional. And the 12th overall seed, Coastal Carolina. Ooh, that would be a fun clash of styles in a super regional. Conway regional there. Number 6 overall seed was Florida State. So Tallahassee, postseason baseball is coming back home. 2E's. 11th overall, South Carolina. And that's Columbia Regional. Now we get to 7th overall and 10th overall. Seven is North Carolina. Oh shit, we fucked that up. Wake Forest has to be above Florida State. They just beat them in a 3-game weekend series. That matters. Yes, it was at Wake Forest, and if it's in Tallahassee, they might win. But it's just the luck of the draw. That's got to matter. All right, this is the Wake Forest regional. Wake Forest. Tallahassee's now the 7th seed regional. 10th overall is East Carolina. Two tortured fan bases going up against each other in the super regional. What could be better? All right, 8th overall and 9th overall. 9th was Indiana State. We have another Terre Haute regional. And 8th overall was North Carolina. Chapel Hill. Alrighty, let's start creating some matchups. Top 2 seed Georgia, closest regional to Athens without it being an SEC regional is Florida State, Tallahassee. I'm not going to double check a lot of the proximity of these regionals. I think it's Florida State. So Georgia's the 2 seed in Tallahassee. Cross off the Bulldogs there. UC Santa Barbara, so the furthest west regional, because there's not a true west. UC Santa Barbara is gonna. Oh, there is a true west. It's Oregon State still. UC Santa Barbara in Oregon State's regional there. Yeah, that's the closest regional to them. Next is Oklahoma, and lucky them, they're probably going to Fayetteville. Because I don't think either of the Texas regionals are closer to them than Fayetteville. So Arkansas is getting another Big 12 2 seed into their regional this year as it stands right now. Nebraska is going to be sent to one of those Texas regionals because the Fayetteville regional just got swallowed up by Oklahoma. So Nebraska is probably going to go to Dallas to face or to be in Dallas Baptist regional there. So Nebraska is the 2 seed in the 16th seeds region. That immediately is going to be one of the lighter regionals. Oklahoma State, they're going to go to Texas A&M in College Station's regional. James Madison. So they're a Virginia school. Virginia is hosting. That is going to create a tremendous matchup. Right? Virginia and Charlottesville. Where are they at? Right here. James Madison coming into town to wreck some shit up. Vanderbilt. So they're Tennessee-based school. We saw Tennessee, the University of Tennessee, get sent to Clemson last year. Vanderbilt's not going to go to Knoxville because they're an SEC team. So what's the furthest west North Carolina school? It wouldn't be Clemson because Duke is going to host. And last year, the only reason why Tennessee didn't go to Duke was because Coastal Carolina was probably a higher. Or no, Duke went to Coastal Carolina. Never mind. Oh, shit. They would. No, Lexington's SEC. Brain fart for a moment there. Furthest west North Carolina school. So it would be Chapel Hill. It could be Wake Forest. It could be Durham. Has anybody in the YouTube chat already spit it out to me? Terre Haute. Good call, Tyler. Is Terre Haute closer too? All right. Now we got to Google. Let's Google this. So Vanderbilt. How far away is Vanderbilt from Terre Haute. 4 hours, 14 minutes. I love how nitty gritty we're getting now. Wake Forest, 6 hours. So Wake Forest isn't extremely west, but they're still Tobacco Road, and Durham and Chapel Hill are going to be around the same. So, yeah, it's Terre Haute. Shout out to Tyler in the chat. Good call. Vanderbilt, 2 seed in Indiana's regional, or Indiana State's regional. Alabama is the next 2 seed that we've got here. And they would probably get sent to one of the South Carolina schools. So Alabama probably gets into Clemson or Coastal. Coastal is in North South Carolina. I know that by heart. They're closer to North Carolina than to Georgia, I believe. Don't book me on that, but I think that's correct. And they're not going to go to South Carolina. So Alabama goes into the Clemson regional. NC State. They're probably going to go to Conway, aren't they? Or Greenville. East Carolina and NC State. I think that happened last year too. Colby's going to love seeing that on a graphic. He's going to think that I'm fucking with him too. It's going to be funny. Then UC Irvine. So the next furthest west regional. The Texas ones are full. Lexington. Yeah. UC Irvine's going to Lexington. It's not a bad draw for the Anteaters or the Wildcats there. It's a light regional. Same with the Dallas regional, in my opinion, immediately. Off the tip of my tongue. UCF is next. So Chapel Hill is available. They would immediately. So South Carolina's regional in Columbia is probably where UCF goes. UCF's the 2 seed in Columbia. Texas Tech. They wish one of the Texas ones were open. Knoxville for Texas Tech. San Diego. There's not another one that's further west, is there? They're all like North Carolina now. Conway, Durham, Wake Forest, and Chapel Hill are the only ones remaining. So San Diego gets, and Arizona, they get short ends of the stick. West Virginia, they're going to get like the furthest north school here. So Chapel Hill, Wake Forest. They won't go Conway. It's either, so how far is Morgantown from Chapel Hill, Durham, and Wake Forest? Chapel Hill, it's 6 hours, 20 minutes. Durham, it's 6 hours, 25 minutes. And Wake Forest, another Tobacco Road school, is 5 hours, 14. So they'll go to Wake. Tough draw. Or West Virginia, not Wake Forest. All right. And then the final 2 seed that would probably have a say is Virginia Tech. And they won't go to Chapel Hill or Durham. They'll go to Conway because the other 2 schools are in the ACC with Virginia Tech. So that leaves San Diego and Arizona. And just the way that you do this here, San Diego being the higher ranked team than Arizona is going to get the lower seeded available regional. So San Diego is going to travel to Durham in Duke's regional, and Arizona is going to Chapel Hill in North Carolina's regional. And now we got the 3 seeds. Here's where we actually create head-to-head first round matchups. Florida, top 3 seed. Florida State, right? Oh, Georgia's in. Damn it. I bet I got lucky. There is not a close one to Florida. I think this is where you would pass and see if you can get a closer matchup. I think that's what happens here because Gainesville's not really too close to any of these regionals. So UConn is next, and there's not a Northeast regional. So they'll go to Knoxville, I think, or Charlottesville, or Lexington. So they'll go to Lexington over Knoxville for sure. Is Virginia closer than Lexington? I think it would be. Yeah, so UConn's going to go into the Charlottesville regional there, and they would be matched up head-to-head with James Madison in a 2-3 seeded game there. UConn. Next up, Xavier, who's Ohio, and that's perfect. They'll go to Lexington. And Kentucky's regional, they'll be matched up against UC Irvine in the first round there. Ole Miss, still don't ask me how they even got into the tournament. I'm not proud of it. Ole Miss is who we got here? Ole Miss would probably get sent to Texas, to Dallas. Yeah. Ole Miss will be the 3 seed in the Dallas regional, face off against Nebraska. That regional is extremely weak now, in my opinion. In my humble opinion, that doesn't matter too much because this is all just a projection. Ole Miss will cross them off. Kansas State, they'll take one of the Fayetteville or College Station regional. Oklahoma and so all right, so Kansas State will go to the Dallas regional because 2 other Big 12 teams are in the other regionals. So Ole Miss will go to oh shit. The 1 seeds in those regionals are SEC teams. So Ole Miss back to Dallas. And Kansas State can't do Fayetteville or College Station. The next one's probably Knoxville. Or Terre Haute. How far away is Manhattan KS from Knoxville? 12 hours, 23 minutes from Terre Haute. 7 hours. Much closer. That was a brain fart. All right, so where's Terre Haute? Kansas State is the 3 seed playing Vanderbilt in game 1 in Indiana State's regional there. Northeastern, again, there was not a North regional, so we'll hold off on the Huskies. UNC Wilmington. Who's the unlucky North Carolina school that draws the Seahawks? You have Chapel Hill, Greenville, Wake Forest, Durham. They are close to all of them, obviously. Doesn't matter. Wilmington from Durham, 2 hours, 21 minutes. Chapel Hill, 2 hours, 26 minutes. So Durham's still the winner there. Wake Forest, 3 hours, still Durham. Greenville. No, Greenville, North Carolina. Okay, so they'll go to East Carolina's regional. They're the 3 seed playing NC State. Cross off Wilmington. Mississippi State's next. There's not a regional for Mississippi State, looks like. We'll send Mississippi State to the furthest west North Carolina team. I think that's how we're going to do that. We'll actually send Florida to the furthest west North Carolina team. And then Mississippi State to the second furthest west. So Florida will go to Wake Forest. Ooh, that's fun. And Mississippi State will go to Chapel Hill. All right. Takes care of the 2 SEC teams that weren't close to Carolina or any of the other regionals. TCU. Oh, we got the Schloss Bowl going again. Or damn it, Oklahoma State's already in there. I did that again. And they can't go to Fayetteville for a rematch there. I was so excited to do that. All right, so we'll hold off on TCU. All of the kind of Western regionals are taken. Same with Louisiana. Charleston, so they're South Carolina school. So Columbia or Clemson. Charleston's in South Carolina, whereas Conway's in North South Carolina. So Charleston closer to Columbia or Clemson? Three hours, 48 minutes. Columbia. 14 minutes. Okay. That should have been a no-brainer, I guess. Charleston to South Carolina's regional. They are the 3 seed playing UCF. Lamar, that's another Texas school that we have to pass on. Samford. They'll go to Tallahassee. Yeah, they'll go to Tallahassee. Samford will. And actually, we have 2 3 seeds open in Western regionals. Just the SEC can't be slotted in there. So we can actually do TCU in Louisiana. Actually, 2 Big 12 teams are currently in those Western regionals. So we can do, I think I said, so Louisiana we can throw into how far is Lafayette from College Station? .437 and Fayetteville. Arkansas. So they're closer to Texas A&M. So Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns are the 3 seed playing Oklahoma State in the College Station Regional. We can cross off the Ragin' Cajuns there. Lamar is next. They'll go to the Fayetteville Regional. That solves all of our problems. We get an Oklahoma-Lamar rematch. 2 3 seeds there. 2 3 seed matchup. Can I do that in the first round? I'm going to be safe. I don't know if I can do that in the first round. So we'll switch Lamar and Louisiana. It's not a huge difference. They're both Louisiana schools. We'll just do that to be safe. So Lamar is the 3 seed now playing Oklahoma State in the College Station Regional. Louisiana is the 3 seed playing Oklahoma in the Fayetteville Regional. It's all coming together now, guys. Samford. We already did the Tallahassee, correct? Yeah. So next is Western Kentucky, and is Lexington still open? No, it is not. So what do we got? We have Durham, we have Corvallis, we have Clemson, we have Conway. That's it. So we have Northeastern, TCU, Western Kentucky, and UTSA left. So Northeastern, we'll just give them the weakest regional. So Northeastern is going to head to Durham to play the 2 seed San Diego in Duke's regional. TCU's next. They'll head out to Corvallis as the 3 seed playing UC Santa Barbara in Oregon State's regional. Western Kentucky will be the 3 seed in Conway, the Coastal Carolina regional, playing Virginia Tech. And then UTSA is the last 3 seed to get slotted into a regional here. They get the pleasure of going to Clemson. Or I fucked this up. I forgot a team. How did I do that? Oh boy. Did I cross out? Did I give Mississippi State a home? I did. Did I put UConn into one? I did. Oh boy. Noah fucked this one up. Bad. How do I fuck it up that bad? Florida? Do they have a home? They do. Oh my god. I'm literally color coding and everything. I have it dummy proof, and the dummy still dummied. That's perfect. Perfect for the show. That college experience can't go any other way, can it? Really? Like, seriously. Ole Miss is in Dallas. Kansas State's next. Did I pat? So Kansas State's the team that I fucked up? No, they're in Terre Haute. I just put in Northeastern. Wilmington is slotted. I know I put in Wilmington. Yeah, they're in Greenville. Mississippi State, I already looked that one up. TCU. Did I do TCU? Yeah, I did. They're in Corvallis. Louisiana, I did. Charleston, they're in South Carolina, or South Carolina's regional. Lamar, I switched them for somebody. Lamar and Louisiana were switched. Samford, they're in Tallahassee, right? Yeah, they are. Western Kentucky, this is the one that I might have fucked up on. No, Western Kentucky's in a regional as a 3 seed. UTSA, they're in a regional. Holy shit, how did I do this? Plus, I had a chat over my fucking face the entire time. I love you, chat, but I can't believe I had that over my face this entire time, too. Tyler says I might have miscounted a 3 seed. I did. I'm a real idiot. All right. Everything else is good. Thankfully. It's not like I shorted a at-large bid because the next one was just an automatic. So USC Upstate. We'll send USC Upstate to Clemson's regional and UTSA to Knoxville. All right, we fixed it. Yay. All right, top 4 seeds, Illinois. They'll go to the Terre Haute regional. The next 4 seeds, Grand Canyon. Is Arizona closest to Texas or Oregon State? How far is Phoenix from Corvallis or College Station? I mean, they're not really close to either of these, to be honest. 16 hours to both. Are you kidding? All right, we'll pause on Grand Canyon. Bowling Green, they'll go to Lexington, Kentucky. So, sorry, I didn't read off. Illinois is in the Terre Haute regional. Indiana State's hosting that. 2 seeds Vanderbilt, 3 seed Kansas State. Bowling Green is now the 4 seed in the Lexington regional. The 1 seed Kentucky, 2 seed UC Irvine, 3 seed Xavier. That's a light regional. Bowling Green and Kentucky. I mean, I don't know how much of an issue Bowling Green could get to Kentucky, but that could be a 4 seed that gets out. Next up, Fresno State. Now, this is one that's deserving of Corvallis. They're close-ish. Fresno State into Corvallis as the 4 seed. St. Louis. This will be Fayetteville. I assume they're closer to Fayetteville than Knoxville. I shouldn't have to look that one up. I'm trusting my gut. St. Louis into Fayetteville. Next up is Ryder. Their Northeast school will pass. Columbia Northeast, Stetson. Hello, Knoxville, or hello, Tallahassee. Sorry. Stetson into the Tallahassee regional. Florida State's the 1 seed. Georgia, 2 seed. Samford, 3 seed there. Next up's Gonzaga. They're another West school will pass. Army, their Northeast will pass. Northern Kentucky, they'll go to Knoxville. Knoxville and Lexington always kind of draw the Horizon League team, so that's very, very fitting. Yeah, that's looking like what it'll be. So Northern Kentucky into Knoxville. Bryant, another Northeast team. Sacred Heart, another Northeast. Tennessee Tech just lost out on Knoxville, but they can go to which is the furthest. Where did we send? Oh, Vanderbilt went to Terre Haute. So then the next furthest west North Carolina school, I think, was Wake Forest. Yeah, so we'll send Tennessee Tech to Wake Forest. Tennessee Tech, 4 seed, Wake Forest, the 1 seed, West Virginia is the 2 seed, Florida is the 3 seed there. Florida A&M missed out on Tallahassee, so we'll wait on Florida A&M. North Dakota State. Is there anyone in the middle of the country for North Dakota State? They'll take one of the Texas regionals, I would assume, and they wouldn't complain about it. North Dakota State goes to College Station. The number 1 overall seed gets the 64 overall ranked team. It's about how it goes. Alrighty. So we'll cross off North Dakota State there. And now go Grand Canyon, file into Dallas. That fits perfectly. I mean, that was another one of the most furthest west regionals. So, by the way, in the College Station regional, that one's now finalized. Texas A&M, the 1 seed, Oklahoma State, the 2 seed. They're playing Lamar, who's the 3 seed. North Dakota State's the 4 seed. In Dallas, Dallas Baptist is host. They'll play Grand Canyon in the first round. Nebraska, Ole Miss, the 2-3 seed matchup there. Next up is Ryder, and Ryder's going to head over to Durham to play Duke in round 1 against, and then the winner of that game would get 2 seed San Diego or 3 seed Northeastern. That is Duke all the way. That's a very favorable regional for the Blue Devils there. The winner of the Charlottesville Invitational is Columbia out of the Ivy League. Look out. Columbia can be competitive. So Charlottesville Regional is Virginia, the 1 seed, Columbia, the 4 seed, James Madison, the 2 seed against UConn, the 3 seed. The Columbia or the Conway Invitational the Conway Invitation goes to Gonzaga. The Zags are playing Coastal Carolina in round 1. 2 seed Virginia Tech there, 3 seed Western Kentucky. Now we have the Columbia Invitation that's going to Army out of the Patriot League. They're in a big series this weekend against Navy, by the way. If any of those out there that are still listening to this show, shout out to you if you are. And second of all, Army-Navy week. Army-Navy weekend, sorry. Because they'll play a doubleheader Saturday and then finish on Sunday. They don't play Friday games in the Patriot League. Greenville's 4th seed will be Bryant. Oh, there's some nightmares there. 2 years ago, Bryant swept East Carolina to begin the season. Chapel Hill's invitation will go to Sacred Heart. By the way, sorry. So the Columbia Regional is South Carolina 1 seed against Army. UCF's the 2 seed. Charleston's the 3 seed. The Greenville Regional is East Carolina against Bryant, and then NC State against UNC Wilmington. The Chapel Hill Regional is North Carolina against Sacred Heart, Arizona against Mississippi State there. Then the final team to be slotted into place, Florida A&M heads to Clemson. They'll be the 4th seed in the Clemson Regional against Clemson in round 1, and then the 2 seeds Alabama, 3 seed USC Upstate. And there we have it. There's the masterpiece right there. It only took us an hour and 45 minutes. It's a pretty good time, to be honest. It was all right for the first time that we did this. It'll be better. Iveta goes, we're here. Ryan Hasty says, let's fucking go. Nice work. Tyler says, any long shot futures you like based on this bracket, Noah? Yeah. Let's divvy this up. Let's see what can we concur from what we just created. Duke has an easy regional. Northeastern is not playing to the ability that I think they can reach. And that I think is the most dangerous team there. San Diego, like historically, the teams that get sent completely like 3 time zones away, San Diego's not going to be competitive here as the 2 seed. Dallas Baptist, like this regional is a shit show. The Dallas Baptist regional. So that instantly is going to that instantly tells me you want a team that's based in Texas, the Mississippis, the Louisiana area. That's going to be like a 2 or 3 seed long shot. Because you should be able to be slotted into a favorable regional in Dallas if Dallas Baptist hosts, which that's not a guarantee. So I take that back because you don't want to jump on a Louisiana team and then they get sent to College Station or Fayetteville, the number 1 overall or number 2 overall seeds, because as we can see, Lamar and Louisiana end up as 3 seeds in some death regionals there. The West is open for what it's worth. So like a UC Irvine, a UC Santa Barbara. I like Oregon State this year, but I mean, they're pretty banged up. I don't know who's expected to come back this season, who's expected to be out for the rest of the year. But they're missing like 3 starting hitters from their lineup currently. I would stay out of the jumbled mess in the Carolinas. There are so many hosts in the Carolinas. It's very hard to predict. You've got Clemson, who's the 4, Wake Forest, who's the 6. That's 2. Chapel Hill's the 8. That's 3. Durham's the 15. That's 4. Charlotte, or that's Virginia. Conway's the 12 seed. That's 5. Columbia's the 6 or the 11th seed. That's 6. Greenville's the 10th seed. That's 7. There's 7 Carolina regionals. I would just stay out of the whole Atlantic. Like if you can't find value in the Atlantic, I wouldn't try to pick a team in the Atlantic, if you know what I mean. Because it's going to be hard to predict/project the regional that they fall into. The Ohio / Tennessee area is not terrible. I would say Northeast. That's going to be my final answer. Like you can go to Charlottesville, where you'll be placed, or you get one of the weaker North Carolina regionals, because like that happened with Northeastern and Rider here, where they just kind of got slotted into a 15th overall, and that happened with UConn and Columbia into the 13th overall. So that's my answer. That's going to be my answer. It's a long shot, 2 or 3 seed in the Northeast. Because you can also get sent to Kentucky. It's a big park. It allows for dogs to be able to be competitive. The death blow would be Knoxville. But I think Charlottesville is winnable. Duke, it most likely probably isn't. I really like Duke, like in an NCAA tournament format, but just this regional here that Duke has is so weak. And I mean, that's a Carolina regional who I said kind of avoid, but they would just kind of fall into it if they're the Northeast. But Charlottesville's protecting from the Virginia regionals. I think that's my answer. You want to pick a longer shot from the Northeast. You can get sent to Lexington. You can get sent to Charlottesville. You can get sent to Durham. I think that's your like most regionalized based long shot that you should be looking for. Northeastern still is a long shot with plenty of talent. That's a team that I still believe in. That was my favorite mid-major coming into the year. That's probably the team that I would still jump on because they're in the tournament field and their best 2 MLB draft prospects have played like ass this year. And their pitching staff's so deep. That's who I would probably jump on is Northeastern still. I'm just scanning the field. Xavier's interesting. They're still in the bubble situation, and the Big East is up this year, so it's hard to predict whether they'll come out of that or not. I think my answer is Northeastern if you're looking for a specific school, and if you're looking for a region that's also in the Northeastern region of the United States. So that's going to do it for this show. Torrance Miller says, what do you think about Oregon versus San Francisco tomorrow? I like the Ducks. But yeah, that's going to do it for the show. Thank you all for listening through this longer episode. Let me know if you like this style of content. We might run back another bracketology episode in the coming weeks. But this has been the college baseball experience. You better start thinking about yours. Adios, amigos.